Massachusetts, the J&S Industrial Repair Machine. It is Mark Heim, car number 23.
Then it will be car number 39, a driver from Berlin, Connecticut, in the Mid-State Auto-sponsored machine. The driver is Paul Verrecchio Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is showtime for the late models. They come rumbling off turn number 4, full-bodied style. We'll call it full-bodied frenzy. Green is out, and we are racing, and they're already 3 wide as Michael Bennett makes a bold move to the bottom. J.J. Hill moves into second, and the Big Kahuna leads the band down the back straightaway.
And the man who got caught on the outside is Scott Cook, and he is backpedaling. An aggressive move by Sorzelli, as he's able to rabble-rouse his way into the top 4.
They come back to the stride. Botticello is still in command. J.J. Hill muscles his way to the bottom, but all of a sudden, Michael Bennett becomes factor number 3. Meanwhile, up in front also is car number 18. That is Michael Scorzelli. Started 7th on the grid, up to 4, and they've only completed a half a mile. Back to the line they come, nose to tail, single file formation. Peterson and Mavrogiannis are the first 2 to pull out of the line. Jay Stewart was the fastest car in practice today.
And right now, it looks like Botticello could be the fastest car on the track, although he is getting hunted down by J.J. Hill. Only a free tree branch separates our top 2, and look at Mike Heim at car number 23. He takes the agricultural route on the backstretch.
No harm, no foul there. Back to the front of the field. Botticello slipped up the racetrack just a bit. Scorzelli is among the quickest cars in the racetrack. Fastest car is the TSI Harley-Davidson, number 16 for Michael Bennett. He is currently 3rd, but the fastest lap time in 3 circuits is from car number 16.
And he is trying to hold his own against Scorzelli, who made a move that time down low, and Bennett was able to veto it. 3-way battle between Tommy Fern, Peterson, and Jay Stewart. Fern gets underneath Peterson. Now Jay Stewart is trying to execute the same move.
It is a move that worked for Fern. Stewart makes it happen. Jimmy Peterson wasn't even sure he'd make it back to the racetrack in time. Both he and Joe Ham's sons are graduating tonight, and he went to the graduation. Meanwhile, look at Adam Gray. Backpack of cars, slowly but cautiously. Long way to go. He's coming to the front as well, and so is in the Casa Grande team. All of a sudden, Bennett gets crossed up just a bit. That car suddenly become evil as Jim Mavrogiannis now is the fastest car in the racetrack, and you can see why. The Extra Mart 01, Matt, has moved into the top 5.
He just ran a 21.4 second lap, and that's better than anyone else has done. We have great battles all over the service.
Car number 7 goes into the ARPCO between 3 and 4, and that is the number 7 machine for Kyle Casagrande. Got crossed up, made some contact. Looks like he's going to be able to pull away, hopefully under his own power.
And he just got wiped out against the fence. So our first caution, it comes on lap number 7. And a nasty hit by the driver of car number 7. Tony Sutton will be covering pit road for us in this race, and we will be checking with him quite often during the course of this race. As our first break in the action, Adam Gray, far back. You know, we normally see him at this time challenging for the lead, but when that caution came out, he was still in the middle of the pack. Let's go to Tony Sutton.
Well, Casagrande's coming down pit road. They're going to look at the car and see if they can figure out exactly how much damage was done. I want to make a little comment about Dennis Botticello in the 28 car. That is a brand new car, and he made a comment to me in the paddock area saying, I've had a lot of practice laps, no race laps. We are ready to put this thing on the track and do battle. So Dennis Botticello, really, really, the big kahuna. Glad to be back racing, and man, is he happy guy. Back to you.
We love that name, Big Kahuna. It stands for Hawaiian Chief. So he's been the chief of the first 7 laps, but not very far away is J.J. Hill. J.J. Hill got some local sponsorship this year to help him out from the Alpine Tree Company, and that is also the sponsor of Shane Prucker's number 86 car, a local Stafford business sponsoring 2 Stafford drivers. as Tony Sutton has made it to Kyle Casagrande's pit. Let's go back to Tony.
Well, there's some damage on the front end, and they're now checking to make sure the tire, there's no issue with the tie rods. They changed one tire, and the tires do look straight, which that might sound funny, but I'll tell you what, it doesn't take much to put them out. Casagrande on the gas, pulls away, the pit crew is back over the wall, and he's back on the racetrack.
So we are just about ready to light the fuse again with the 28 of Botticello and the 41 of Hill in the front row. Botticello gets the jump. Trying to retaliate on the outside is J.J. Hill. They machine gun their way into the second corner, and Botticello starts to pull away.
The car to keep your eyes on is the Scorzelli machine, car number 18. Up to the front of the field, the tail that wags a dog suddenly becomes Tommy Fern with car number 92. He's in the 4th spot. Mavlajanis is up to 5, and the dynamic duo of Adam Gray and the 42 machine of Jay Stewart has now emerged among the top 10 cars.
And that's the best battle on the track as they go into the 3rd corner. Look at Gray as he blurs his way underneath Stewart to pick up a position. So Adam Gray is now in the top 10.
There's no question about it as they struggle down into turn number 2. They are nose to tail. Here comes Fern. He looks to pull out of line. Scorzelli on the outside. Scorzelli brings it down about half a groove. They come together. Scorzelli is crossed up. Loses 2 positions, Matt, and now all of a sudden Gambacorta is coming to the front of the field with car number 32.
And Gambacorta is able to diesel his way into the top 5. Following his every move is Adam Gray. So we have Gambacorta leading, and here comes Gray. Bold move to the bottom as he tries to Tasmanian Devil his way underneath the 32. They made contact, and Gambacorta is able to keep his position, but you wonder for how long.
There's no question about it. It is car number 97, defending series champion Gray. He kicks up the dust on the bottom in turn 3 on the last circuit by. He sets in the 5th spot. 5th isn't good enough. Gray usually comes on right about the halfway marker, Matt, and that's, I think, what we're going to see here today.
Well, right now he is going after the 51 of Josh Wood. So that is a battle we're paying attention to. Tommy Fern, bold move to the bottom against J.J. Hill. He's got the muscle, and Hill has a spot hanging to the back like a fuse on a stick of dynamite is Tommy Fern, and Fern, with speed to burn, has moved into 2nd place.
Fern came here with a mission. That was to get to the front early. He thought he had a very fast race car in practice, and it is now showing that muscle in the main event. Fern has moved car number 92 from the 10th starting spot. All of a sudden, it is car number 1 for Corey Casagrande, involved with the number 23 for Mark Heim, and a 3rd car was involved in the mix-up as well, and we believe that is the Paul Verrecchio number 39 car.
It's already been a rough night for the 23 of Heim. Second time he has had some difficulty, but Corey Casagrande, one of the up-and-comers in the late model division, is in distress at turn 2.
Want to remind you that in tonight's race program, our good friends at Napa, of course, the official sponsor here at the Stafford Motor Speedway, for Napa Know-How, check out your local auto care Napa centers. Tonight, we salute the following stores from Middletown, Connecticut. We salute the Napa Middletown store on Newfield Street. Dave and his guest joining us here for tonight's presentation. From Springfield, Massachusetts, we are proud to have in attendance here with us from Boston Road in Springfield, Dan and his staff alongside. In addition to that, out of Cheshire, Connecticut, it is the Parts Place store on Ginny Hill Road in Cheshire, Don and his team. We welcome each and every one of you. And from Brooklyn, Connecticut, the Pap Auto store out of Providence Road in Brooklyn, Connecticut, Rini and the rest of the folks there. We salute all of the Napa dealers. We remind you for Napa Know-How to open up your souvenir program. Check them out online or on Facebook. You can also follow them on Twitter. Napa, the Auto Care Center experts.
And right now, the expert in this race has been Dennis Botticello, but I think that yellow is something that he wasn't too fond of because it will give the 92 of Tommy Fern an opportunity J.J. Hill has been strong, and maybe the guy who has saved something for the first during the first 13 laps to hope to use it at the end is Adam Gray, as he is usually a rocket, and we expect the same to happen tonight. Good effort so far for Kevin Gambacorta in car number 32, but we get ready to raise the curtain again in a very crucial restart between Dennis Botticello and Tommy Fern.
The Big Kahuna has been the star of this one, but for 13 circuits, it's all suddenly changed. Bottom of turn 1, Tommy Fern blasts his way into the lead. Started back in 10th. He's the leader of the pack. And Jim Mavlajanis, running like days of old, the Extra Mart convenience store machine, now challenges Botticello for second. And here comes the defending champion, Adam Gray, with Jay Stewart. Those two can't shake each other off, Matt. They have been side by side during the first 14 laps.
Boy, it looked like Adam Gray had a little caffeine twitch coming off the fourth quarter. Now he straightens it out, but he loses ground to Jay Stewart. Stewart passes Gray on the outside. I don't think all of last year we saw somebody pass Adam Gray on the outside, and Stewart has just done it.
He was quick in practice, fastest car in the practice round today. Scorzelli, Michael Bennett, all coming from the back after an early pit stop. They're threading the needle through traffic back up front. Stewart showing it was no fluke that he was a rocket in practice. He's in the 4th spot, looking to move to the podium. 16 laps up on the board. Second half is when they show their muscle. Well, let's see what's going to happen. Fern out in front and pulling away. Mavlajanis still the fastest lap, 21.427. 21.427.
Let's see how long it takes Adam Gray in the 97 car to catch up to Jay Stewart in the 42, or we'll see if he can do it at all. As right now, it doesn't really look like the Adam Gray we have been seeing for the last 2 years. Jay Stewart putting the nostrils of his car underneath Mavlajanis. He has the leverage. A little hip check coming off turn number 4, and Jay Stewart is in the top 3.
There's no question about it. The Arbitel convenience store, number 42, comes onto the podium with vengeance. Botticello just in front of him, the color red. But you can almost see the red in the eye of Stewart as he's starting to close up that gap. Now all of a sudden, Gray is reeling in on Mavlajanis. Gray is not done yet. 19 laps up on the board in this 30-lap event.
But the best battle between Jay Stewart and the 42, Dennis Botticello. There is a crevice underneath Botticello. Can Stewart squeeze his car underneath? He's going to try it. They defy the law of gravity as they go off the turn number 4, and Botticello maintains his position.
There's no question about it. Stewart, with the skill of a surgeon, he takes a slice out of second. He is up to the runner-up spot. Fern, all of a sudden, his spotters telling him that Stewart not only was the fastest car in practice, but he's among the fastest cars on the racetrack. And he is moving in. Spin between 1 and 2 for the 3rd time. Mark Heim with the number 23 car, Matt.
Yeah, twice in turn 2, and once he made a detour through John Deere country on the backstretch. So we have another caution. That might be a perfect antidote for Adam Gray to solve his ill-handling car. We'll see if it helps him. But Jay Stewart, he looks like much the best, and now he's an opportunity to maybe wrestle the lead away from Tommy Fern.
We remind you that here at the Stafford Motor Speedway, Family Ford of Enfield provides us with 2 safety vehicles. The 2 Ford safety vehicles used here at the Stafford Motor Speedway in 2014 are supplied by Family Ford of Enfield. They have the number 1 volume Ford dealership in northern Connecticut, and they're located not far from the Stafford Motor Speedway on Route 190 in Enfield. To learn more about Family Ford of Enfield, go to their website at familyfordoфenfield.com.
Boy, this is going to be a great restart coming up between Tommy Fern and Jay Stewart. We saw Stewart earlier in this race get by Adam Gray on the outside, but it'll be difficult if he can make the same move against our leader, Tommy Fern, but you can't count him out. It looks like Paul Verrecchio in car number 39 is headed back out onto the track, and Mark Heim in car number 23 is not as fortunate. Jim Peterson is making his way back out. So Jim Peterson has had a lot of problems in the first 20 laps of this race. Tommy Fern, a 3-time champion in the pro stocks. As we get ready for action, first let's go to pit road.
Yes, Ben, I just want to report that I saw major contact between number 28, Dennis Botticello, number 42, Jay Stewart. Right back to you.
I think they're mixing it up. That is what's known as hard racing in the late model division, and we saw it right there. So we are getting ready to turn the switch on again between Jay Stewart and the 42, Tommy Fern in the 92. Now, because we did not finish the last lap, Dennis Botticello is able to maintain his second place position. But we know Stewart will be coming on strongly over the final 10 laps. Ben, we are set up for a barn burner here in our late model feature.
The final 10 will tell the story. Off turn number 4, back to the line they come. It is car number 92, Tom Fern, with the advantage to the bottom of turn 1. All of a sudden, that's about to change, as now it is Adam Gray to the inside of Botticello. Bottom shot move. Here comes the defending series champion. Meanwhile, Jimmy Peterson off the pace, heading down on pit road while under green. Gray is up to the top 3. Who were the other movers and shakers coming back to the front? J.J. Hill, Mavlajanis, Bennett, and Scrivelli, and Josh Wood.
There was a great battle in the middle of the pack. Michael Bennett was able to get by both Josh Wood in the 51 and also the 32 of Gamba Corda. So Michael Bennett, this is one of his best late model performances. Hill making contact with Mavlajanis, and then he is cleaned out by Bennett. So we had Hill, the 41, got together with the 01, and while Mavlajanis was in a very vulnerable position sideways at turn number 2, Bennett came crashing in.
And other cars involved in the skirmish: J.J. Hill, the Mavlajanis machine, the Gamba Corda car, the Casa Grande car, and the Verrecchio machine were the cars involved. Most are able to pull away. Even the Bennett car, as it hit at a ton, they're driving, that car's being driven back down on pit road. So a heartbreaker there.
Yeah, wrong place, wrong time, as the action happened right in front of Michael Bennett as contact between the 41 and the 01, and there was nowhere for Michael Bennett to go to avoid that melee.
Scorzelli is down on pit road. The Casagrandes have had no luck tonight at all for both of their cars in this late model event. They're working on the front and checking under the rear of that race car. Jimmy Peterson went to his son's graduation, as Joe Ham did tonight. Didn't know if he was going to make it back in time. Did make it back just in the nick of time, but unfortunately, it has not paid off for Jim. He has struggled throughout the first 22 laps of the event.
Yeah, at this time, he almost wishes that those graduation speeches were longer. Right now, we're going to go the long way to pit road and check back in with Tony Sutton.
Well, Jimmy Peterson in the 17, he had a right front tire going down, and that's what was altering his handling, but it wasn't going down far enough to be noticed by the crew. This time, they put some more air in it, and hopefully it'll last for the rest of the races. As Michael Bennett is getting a massive amount of tape on the front, trying to hold up all the plastic on the front of his car. We were going to try and get a word with him, but that's not going to work. He's going to try and back out and get back on the racetrack, and man, I'll tell you what, there's 100 miles of 100-mile-an-hour tape on that car.
So Tony Sutton working the pit area, and this is going to be a great restart between Tommy Fern and Jay Stewart. Both have won championships here at Stafford. Adam Gray, of course, is the reigning late model champion. So this is what we came to see, the best settling it out over the final 8 laps, and it is going to be just a energized tug-of-war here between 3 of the best at Stafford.
Well, it looks like a lot of work still being done underneath the Napa Auto Care Center billboard. Want to remind you, in tonight's program, just to keep you abreast of what's going on, following the conclusion of the late model feature event, we'll go to the limited late model feature event, and then we'll go to the TSI Harley-Davidson 125 for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. Following the completion of that, the SK Light Modifieds will run their 20-lap feature. The SK Modifieds, the premier division for the Whelen All-American Series, and the Dare Stock feature will be the final feature event of the night. Again, we appreciate the support of our contingency partners in our late model division, including Connecticut Trailers, New England Racing Fuel, Sunoco brand, and Spafco. We salute them for providing us with that additional contingency money. Let's go back down to Tony Sutton. Tony?
Well, Gamble Corda's car is in, and they're working on the steering column while the driver's still in. The mechanic got in the car. I'll tell you what, that is some kind of tight. More tape going on Michael Bennett's number 16 as they work to try and solidify that front end so we can stay out on the racetrack. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be a real reach. But Gamble Corda, he's got some issues, and I'm not even sure if they're going to be able to get to it because the car is facing the wrong way in pit road. Well, they got it fired up. We'll see if he can back around and get back out.
I think there's more tape on that car that's on King Tut, as there is plenty of duct tape on that number 16. They had practice for the TSI Harley-Davidson 125, and to nobody's surprise, Bobby Santos was the fastest in practice. Tommy Barrett was second, just like he was last week at a practice session.
But then there was a surprise.
The big surprise, Ben, was a guy who was third fastest.
And that was Teddy Christopher. Now, Teddy has been struggling, it's fair to say, in the J&R Precast car. That was a car that Ryan Newman competed with. It was a car that everybody felt should be running a lot better, and they haven't been able to find the magic. But tonight, they might have found it.
Yeah, now fourth fastest. He is the answer to one of my favorite trivia questions. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Bobby Santos at the Spring Sizzler last year led 197 of 200 laps. Who was the guy who led the other three?
Last year.
Last year, when Bobby Santos dominated the Spring Sizzler, he led 197 laps.
Yep.
All but three. Who led the other three? And he was fourth fastest in practice today.
You gave it away. I knew the answer before that. It was Teddy Christopher. And, of course, the story there, another surprise in this is Woody Pitkat, because he's among the top 5 cars. And, Matt, you were there when the Wheel and Modified Tour Series began. Somebody said it was a surprise that Woody Pitkat was so dominant that day at Thompson.
Yeah, a lot of people used to say that Woody was not a good time trialer. But since he's got into that number 88 car, the Buzz Chew car, he has turned that reputation, shot holes in it. So Woody Pitkat was 5th fastest in practice today. Donnie Lee is 6th. Eric Goodale, who's usually always up there on the practice chart, was 7th. Rowan Pennick 8th. Ron Uhas Jr. has trouble at Stafford during races, but usually is a good qualifier as 9th. And Doug Colby, you know he loves this place, and he loves it especially on the tour. He was 10th fastest in practice, but we'll forget about those practice times in a few minutes when the Wheel and Modified Tour comes out right after the limited late model feature.
And an estimated time of that is approximately 8 p.m. for the running of the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour TSI Harley-Davidson 125. And joining us here at Broadcast Central to call the action is the legendary Jackie Arute, who's going to be on hand. And he has been pounding the pavement in the paddock area with those stories from behind the scenes and up front, as we're looking forward to bringing you the excitement, all presented by TSI Harley-Davidson. Check out the new Harleys at TSI. If you haven't been there in a while, go back and see a comfortable Harley-Davidson dealership. But right now, the comfort zone is gone because up front, we've got dust flying, and we've got a bid for second. Adam Gray is there on the inside, but Stewart gets a little bit more giddy up. But watch Gray in the bottom, Matt.
Gray trying to lunge his way into second place. They whirly-bird their way off the corner. Adam Gray, by a nostril, has moved into second over Jay Stewart, but Stewart is not giving up on the outside. Very few drivers have been competitive there. They go up the track, and both Gray and Stewart are in trouble. Stewart, Gray goes around. A little pirouette that time by Adam Gray is a dipsy-do on the backstretch. What happened to Adam Gray and Stewart? They drifted high up the track, and the next thing you know, it was like Adam Gray was in a square dance as he did a dipsy-do right in the middle of the backstretch.
And the wild ride of the night so far was the Botticello number 28, literally up on 2 wheels. At one point, we were looking at the undercarriage of the car. Tony Sutton has more.
Well, I can tell you there was major contact on the back straightaway, and that started sending people sliding around. And Dennis Botticello in that brand new car had no place to go, and he rode that thing on 2 wheels, probably 400 or 500 feet before he got it down on the ground. And I can just imagine what kind of mood he's in right now as Adam Gray comes behind the wall in the pits with the 97, and the hook is going out for the 28 car as they're using the cutoff on the infield in order to be able to clean this all up. Back upstairs.
Well, what a dramatic turn of events. And look who appears to be in second right now, Josh Wood. As we haven't talked much about him, but because of attrition, right now he's in a position to possibly win the race.
Well, he started in the 14th starting position. You know, in the limited late model division, Josh Wood was considered one of the smoothest and most consistent drivers of all time to come out of that division. He moved to the late model, and we already saw great patience for him. But right now, let's go back down for more of the stories trackside.
You know, we've talked a lot on the podium and about the championship you won, but this is not the way you want to end this race. What happened?
You know, my parents always taught me, if you got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks to fans for coming out tonight.
Obviously, a gentleman, Adam Gray, a very competitive driver, though, but he feels like there was some serious help getting him in the situation he's in right now, out of the car, checking out the damage. Our former champion out of the race for tonight.
Heartbreaker there. He came on exactly the way we anticipated from what we've seen in the past. Second half of the race, past lap number 15, he started to turn up the heat just a bit. He was there up on the podium, and then a melee down the back straightaway changed all of that. And I think that was some pretty good advice that Mom and Dad gave him, by the way.
Yeah, what's that old country song? You say it best when you say nothing at all. So Adam Gray, you know, he knows what happened. That's one of the cases. Only the two drivers involved know what happened. So Adam Gray and Jay Stewart getting together in turn number 2. And then it was pandemonium behind them. And Tommy Fern, he's had a pretty relaxing night compared to some of his pals. He is in the lead with 7 laps to go.
You know, Matt, he started back in the 10th position. Earlier in the paddock area, I was talking to him, and he felt before he even went out for the feature event, he had one of the best race cars that he's had in quite some time.
And he usually has a good car.
Yes.
So he's always fast.
Another car that went under the radar that we should be talking about is the 99 for the Cook brothers. Now, he started up front in the 2nd spot, but at one point he had drifted way to the rear of the field.
Yeah, like to about 10th place.
Yes, and now he's come back among those top 4 cars. Remember earlier, Corey Casagrande was involved in a jingle. He's back among the top 5. Gambacorta is also there. So there's still a long way to go. Back down on pit road, Michael Bennett with the 16 car. He was hoping to turn some heads tonight for the TSI Harley-Davidson group with that race car. There's a really interesting story that surrounds that. If you have a chance to look at that race car on the roof, that car was put together by a family effort in memory of some great family members and friends. So Michael Bennett's dad, his grandfather, his aunt, his mom, everybody put together this team and this effort to do this in memorial. The reason the car is number 16 is that was part of that memorial cause.
And, of course, Herb Bennett, the grandfather, had a great career here at Stafford Motor Speedway in the Dare Stock division. And we're just about ready to go back to work. Jay Stewart will be on the outside of Tommy Fern. So this will be another breathtaking restart between two of the best, Fern and Stewart. Stewart, a late model champion. Tommy Fern has won 3 Pro Stock championships at Stafford. And in the second row, Josh Wood. People were saying about him today before the race that his patience is rare for a young driver, but he has always had it. So right now, it's time to be aggressive with 7 laps to go. Let's see how aggressive Tom Fern is on this double file restart.
They come off turn number 4. They rumble to the line, a snap of the wrist. Tim Bennett gives him the green, and Fern picks up where he left off. But look at Joshua Wood. Rad Auto Machine providing the ponies as he now moves into second. The Wood car does. And again, Stewart is nipping at his heels. Gambacorta is loose. Way up high on the racetrack. loses a lot of ground, Matt.
He went into the Raisinets and lost about 5 positions. Scott Cook doing a good job. The big whistle in the top 5. Corey Casagrande, he is a guy to keep an eye on because right now he is trying to take a spot away from the professor, Jay Stewart.
You might have counted out the Casagrande team before, but you shouldn't have because they are there. Now J.J. Hill is coming on strong again. He's looking to move back into the top 5 with a 41. Scorzelli makes contact with Hill. Hill does a great job of holding on. Gambacorta, and now the other Casagrande car back to the front of the field. Still Fern. 4 laps remain. 2 miles left in this one. Fern has been a dominant car. Trouble now. Gambacorta slides up the hill and almost backs into the Peterson car. Will he be able to keep it going? Or will we go to yellow? The answer is yellow.
And it comes with 4 laps to go, and it looked like Josh Wood was making a move on the outside of Jay Stewart when that caution came out. So he is deprived of some momentum. And we have a late yellow flag, which means how much did Tom Fern save in this possibility of having to use your car up on a double file restart. We'll see how much ammunition Tom Fern has left, and knowing him and the way he races, he probably has a few bullets left in his holster.
I think you're right about that. He's been so strong here tonight. We remind you that tonight's race program is brought to you by your friends at TSI Harley-Davidson. TSI Harley-Davidson is the proud sponsors of tonight's event. You're looking for a new or pre-owned bike. You're sick of getting the runaround at the local other dealers. Well, you won't get that at TSI Harley-Davidson. They're the oldest Harley-Davidson dealership in Connecticut, and they provide you with the best. Where it's not about the destination, it's all about the ride.
Our
Let's quickly go to Tony.
destination is Pit Road with Tony.
Well, guys, Josh Wood has been staying out of trouble, staying up near the front, but I think he's got to get a lot of credit for avoiding those last 2 wrecks because his car is as clean as when he loaded it off the trailer. Back upstairs.
Well, it looks like we're going to see just how clean we can go for 4 circuits. 2 miles left in this one. Tommy Fern, from a 10th starting spot, became leader number 2. Clock is ticking. Time is running out. Wheel and lights on the safety vehicle are off. Off turn number 4. Tim Bennett stares him down. And all of a sudden, Josh Wood has a problem on the restart mat.
Here comes Casagrande trying to boogie his way underneath Josh Wood. And Casagrande now has taken advantage of Wood's problem and has moved into 3rd place.
No question about it. This kid just doesn't give up. He's talented as well. Casagrande is up on the podium. Wood is back there. Then they are doubled up, and a guy who seems to have more lives tonight than a cat is Scorzelli with car number 18. He continues to thread the needle. Meanwhile, there's J.J. Hill back in this. 2 circuits to go. 3 wide action into turn 3.
And it looks like J.J. Hill is going to complete that move. 3 wide, he is going to survive. J.J. Hill has picked up 2 positions with 2 laps to go.
Final 2 circuits. Hill is trying to come to the front. Fern is being hunted down by Stewart. Stewart is closing up the gap. The clock is ticking. Great comeback for Casagrande. What a scramble down the back straightaway. Off turn number 4. White flag is out. Story is not only up front, but at the bottom of the top 10.
So it is Fern out in front. A tooth-and-nail battle between Scorzelli, Hill, Cook. Also, Michael Bennett trying to make a comeback with Kyle Casagrande. But here comes Tom Fern, 1 turn away from victory.
Off turn number 4. The black and whites are out. Tommy Fern is back on top of his game. He will win the late model feature event tonight. Jay Stewart will finish in the runner-up spot. 3rd will be a great comeback for Casagrande in car number 1. Joshua Wood unofficially in the 4th spot. J.J. Hill for 5, unofficially in 6th. Scorzelli in the 7th spot is Cook. 8th spot unofficially is the 16 car of Michael Bennett, and in the 9th position, the 7 car of Kyle Casagrande, and unofficially rounding out the top 10 will be the 17 of Peterson and company.
And 2 big stories. Tommy Fern getting the win, and the other big story, Ben, the first DNF for Adam Gray in 2 years. So he doesn't finish the race, and that puts the entire division, I think, in a big scramble at the top of the standings. So as they used to say in Jeopardy, things can really change. Well, things did change tonight. Tommy Fern gets a win, Jay Stewart in second, and Adam Gray ended the race as a spectator. So that is something that we haven't seen since the 2012 season.
So in just a few short moments in Napa Victory Lane, we'll be meeting the top three. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got some time to head on down to our midway. Get yourself something good to eat or drink, because coming up after the Victory Lane festivities will be our main event of competition. And that will be the limited late models, the TSI Harley-Davidson 125 for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. As right now we go to Tony Sutton in Napa Victory Lane.
Well, it took a couple of weeks to get this race in, but Tom Fern, you did a great job. Congratulations.
Yeah, we've been holding this in for like 4 or 5 weeks now. We're just waiting to get it out. So finally got our fix tonight. Thanks to the fans coming out. And hey, Don Wood puts the power plant under the hood of this car, and Josh is right there with me at the end. But hey, we can't thank them enough. Safeco Foam, King Ward, Sun Valley Fire Equipment, JR Sweeping, all those guys, every one of them I mention here, every week they help me out to get me here. So my guys in the crew, my wife, she's also my spotter, does a great job for me, keeps me out of trouble like tonight.
Well, you will definitely stay out of trouble tonight. Tom Fern, congratulations on a win.
Yeah, we got to stay out of trouble and try to get to the front as quick as we can. And, you know, I guess some other guys had some bad luck, but hey, it's great to win, and it never gets old, I tell you that much.
Congratulations.
The SK Light Modifieds. Out in front is Paul French, but the story is a battle not for the lead, but a battle in the mid-pack of cars. Back to the line they come. French leads them off the turn. And in the second spot on back, Rit Dulac trying to hold on in the runner-up spot. And here comes car number 16. Todd Doulard threading the needle through traffic. And the first car to break away and make its presence known in the front pack of cars is the number 04 machine for Brandon Dion out of Taunton, Massachusetts, in the Triple D racing car. Dion up to the 4th spot. Charland into position number 5. 6th position, Joey Farino, and then it's Jay Goff, the crafty old veteran, trying to thread the needle further back in the pack as 3 of the 20 circuits are now into the record books. Here comes Charland. Bold move to the inside. Charland sets in the 5th spot as Farino trying to make some magic in the inside lane. Can't do it this time. But Paul French still sets a blistering pace out in front. Back to the stripe they come. Farino still contending at the bottom of the top 6. Meanwhile, a little further back in the field, coming to the front, Tyler Hines started 13th on the grid with the number 25 car as Jeremy Sorrell starts to work his magic. Feature event winner. Also, Nick Salva, car number 98, is coming through traffic as well. Charland makes a bold move to challenge for the 4th spot. Here comes Joey Farino down the back straightaway, Matt. Farino and Charland bumper to bumper and throw David Burnham into the mix there as well.
There are a couple love taps in the middle of the corner, but Charland is able to move free in car number 1. The Shark has had his difficulties. He's having a problem now keeping his car down and trying to squish his way underneath is Joey Farino.
Joey tries it. It just doesn't work. Pulls it back into line. 6th is the spot he has to settle back into. Here comes Burnham and Benedetto. 9 laps of the 20 now into the record books.
And it's Podium Paul who has dominated this. Paul French. Now we have a battle a little deeper in the field. Nick Salva is trying to make some noise. He was a winner the last time that the SK Lights were in action as he blasts his way underneath the 25 of Tyler Hines.
10 laps are now complete. Final 10 circuits. French had a commanding lead. Good run for car number 12 for Rit Dulac. Best we've seen him run in quite some time. Currently setting in the runner-up spot.
We have a problem in turn 2 because the 3 has a headache. Jeff Beaujolais. That white number 3 car brings out the caution on lap number 10. So the big lead that Podium Paul French has just vanished. Very interesting point, Ben, because this is by far the finest hour for Rit Dulac from Southington, Connecticut.
Let's go down to Tony Sutton.
Well, Pete, what'd you think?
I think that's awesome. I got to thank my sons Todd and Jeff who are up here in the stands where it's safe.
Where it's safe. You know, the gentleman you're sitting next to has been a champion here a number of times, and he knows more about this racetrack than just about anybody else. But the thing that's really interesting is he can still drive at nearly the same speed as he won those championships at.
I think he did a wonderful job, and I think we could have pulled a win out here if we'd stayed out there.
Well, a gift from his sons, and Pete Breeze really enjoying it. They'll get off the track as soon as it's safe to do so, but a lifetime experience for this gentleman.
And once again, that was Pete Bissell, who was in the passenger seat. Now we're getting up to speed. A very important restart. Podium Paul, they come together. Podium Paul French and Rit Dulac.
All of a sudden, Dulac, we talked about it before, best we've ever seen him run, but now all of a sudden the cream is starting to rise to the top as car number 04, Brandon Dion, part of the Dion Racing family, moves in, takes over second. Charland, all over the racetrack, high and low. He's trying every strategic move to get to the front of this field. Oh, down the back straightaway. Problem now.
Little 3-wide action.
12 laps now up on the board, and look at the battle for third, Matt. Like a swarm of bees out of a nest.
And it is the mayor, Joey Farino, who gets by Dulac, and he moves into third. So Farino finally gets rid of Bob Charland. Now the Shark is trying to chomp his way underneath Dulac. Nothing doing. A great move underneath Duyard by DJ Burnham. So DJ Burnham is on the move.
7 circuits remain in this event. It's come down to the wire. All of a sudden, Benedetto is now trying to thread his way to the front of the field. Dulard last season just wanted to get some seat time. This year, he's proving he can run with the big dogs, and he has run among the top 10 cars throughout this event, 14 laps in.
Trouble for Dulard, for the 12, as he gets bounced around. He and Charland came together, so Rit Dulac is in distress, and he has a lot of companionship in the turn with him.
Other cars involved in the melee include Jody Johnson with the 53 car. She's able to get away. The Dylan Mendito car is stranded to the top side of the racetrack.
Boy, Dylan has had some tough luck this year.
He sure has. And I believe the Dulard car has stopped underneath the Liberty billboard coming off turn number 2 on the backstretch.
But it looked like what created that, a battle for position between Rit Dulac, who was 4th, and Bob Charland, who was trying to make a excavation move underneath, and the two came together, and going around was Dulac. And also, Shane Prucker in car number 86 is against the wall. along with another car. So Shane Prucker making his debut in that beautiful maroon-colored car. They really did a lot of work on that, and Shane was in a very good mood at the start of the night. I don't think that is true right now.
I don't believe so either. We should also mention, too, Jody Johnson is one of our female drivers that ran very, very strong at the Thompson Speedway in years past. And she's coming to Stafford now on a regular basis. And this is really her second outing here at Stafford.
Yeah, only her second time. And she is a graduate of North Carolina State University. And she is involved in the same line of business that Doug Colby is in real estate. So Jody Johnson, who has not been around for the last couple of years, but now she is going to make Stafford her home in car number 53. That purple number 53, you see it on the mini mile. She is right behind the warhorse, Glenn Griswold. So Rick Dulac was having the run of his life, and unfortunately now he has been summoned to the rear of the field.
And it looks like we're going to see one or both of the cars picked up hammock style on the record. Let's go down to Tony Sutton.
Well, you had a chance to see that thing unfold, and obviously I watched as you got into it. There was just no place to go. What happened in front of you as you saw it?
Yeah, it's just second week in a row. Just couldn't do anything about it. It's just terrible for my IHS racing crew and everyone that helps out with this car.
Well, I'll tell you what, the damage doesn't look that severe, but it's really, really tough to stand here and look at your car when it was so pristine when you went out on the racetrack. I know you get it back together, but you didn't get hurt, and it's not trashed.
Yeah, we'll be back next week with a big smile on our face, so be ready.
So a very nasty incident, and it's still being cleared up in the Turn 2 area. Now, don't forget, something new has been added on Sunday mornings at the Stafford Speedway. We'll be talking about that more, but let's go back down to pit road.
Okay, down here with Wesley Prucker. Heavy damage to the right front of his car. What was your perspective out there?
Someone dumped the 12, and I just had nowhere to go. The 07 came down into me, and that's what happens.
Okay, that's the word down here on pit road.
So we're getting just about ready for a restart, and this will be a very critical one. Brandon Dion having his best run ever at Stafford Speedway. Paul French, he's primarily known for being a crew chief here at Stafford. He was a two-time SK Light champion at the Waterford Speed Bowl, and now he is getting ready for a blockbuster restart.
Let's see what's going to happen. Lights are off on the safety vehicle. They are about to go green. And good start again for Paul French. But the guy to watch is Joey Farino. Farino, a little bit loose now in the second turn. Backs out of it. Not by choice. And now, look at Charland, Matt. Charland is back among the top four cars.
He is on the compact trail, pestering the back bumper of the Farino car. French is leading. Joey Farino, he said that if he can't win, he is going to put on a show trying to win. Right now, he's got inside position against Paul French.
Paul French tries to guard the spot. Will he be able to pull it off? Farino is loose. Off the turn. Farino gathers it back. Joey Farino, the mayor of East Hartford, is now in the lead.
So that swoosh you heard was Farino taking over. Great battle for third and fourth between Charland and Dion. And Charland, he has leverage, and he is able to muscle his way into the top three. As they blast their way off the turn, it is Farino in front, and Charland fighting for his life for third against Dion. Trouble as the car goes around, and he avoids everyone, but that could have been a lot worse than it was.
Unbelievable chain reaction situation.
I believe it was Jeremy Sorrell who went around in the front straightaway, and everybody was able to avoid him, or that could have been a very nasty and messy situation. 3 to go, and we are going to have another crucial restart, this time between Farino and French. And Bob Shagnon there is a guy who has not given up tonight, and he will be a factor. Jay Goff, he did a little moonlighting when the races were rained out. He was competing in F1 action, and his friends were telling me, and he did a great job trying to keep his reflexes sharp when it was rain here at Stafford. And he wanted me to mention that his grandson has won 2 races in the Wild Thing karts, and he wanted us to congratulate him. He'll be going for 3 in a row on Monday night.
Who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
Was it you?
It must have been.
Okay, because you're an old dog. Who would know the answer to that better?
And we also have another report coming in from Connor. Let's
Not a
go
moment
there.
too soon.
Okay, guys, down here on pit roads with Glenn Griswold, flat left rear tire on his car. What did you see from your perspective?
I just saw someone smoking up there. I don't know if the track started getting greasy or what, but a couple guys just being typical SK Light drivers and keep pounding on each other, and finally they got each other around, and I thought I had it cleared on the outside, but the 77 was coming backwards, and he caught the left rear tire, and we're done for tonight. We sat in the back of the pack, figured this would happen. We probably figured we had a nice top 5 finish, and bring it home, and we're done.
Okay, that's it from pit road. Let's go back up for the restart.
So we have re-racked the field with 3 laps to go, and we are ready for a shootout with Joey Farino in front. Let's see if he can get the jump against Podium Paul French. No, he can't. It's Podium Paul French, like soda, coming out of a shaken can.
But by the time oh boy, it was a little bit too aggressive on the start, and that means we're going to have to do it all over again as the field is doubled back up. Let's see what's going to happen this time, Matt. 17 of 20. SK Modified feature is next. The green is out, and Joey Farino has the advantage this time to the bottom of turn 2. Farino is out in front. Look at Charlene. The Shark is moving in.
The Shark is on the prowl, trying to take second away from French. Let's see what happens as they bazooka their way into turn number 4. Farino holding a very precarious lead. Double file battle behind him between Shagnon and French, and the Shark has emerged in second place.
One away from taking down a victory that he's been in search of for quite some time. You talked about Nicole Morgillo. If you look at the green on the roll cage of that car, you'll discover that that is one of her old race cars, and Bob Charland is reeling in on Joey Farino, but the white flag is out. Final circuit, Matt. It's come down to this.
Good job by Steven Kopchik. He has moved all the way to 4th, the rookie driver in car number 31. But the spotlight is on the mare, Joey Farino. Turn number 4. Here comes Farino approaching the finish line. And it will be Joey Farino to grab the win. Shagnon and Charland in second. And in third, Podium French just nips at hard closing Steve Kopchik.
So 20 circuits into the record books, and Joey Farino is back on top of his game in victory lane, finishing in a runner-up spot. A good run for Bob Charland, and of course Paul French, the early leader of the event.
And if you're looking for a feel-good story, 4th place finisher Steve Kopchik. This is only his 4th ever SK Light race. In his last outing, he only made it through about a half a turn and then was involved in a big pileup in turn number 3. And Steve Kopchik, who raced Legends the last 2 years, used to work on the crew of Michael Jarvis in the SK Modifieds. He finishes 4th. The very colorful Joey Farino in victory lane. He said before the race he was either going to win or be put on a show trying to win. You remember the last time they were in action, Joey Farino almost made a great move on the final lap to extract a victory. This time he was able to get the jump on Paul French on a restart. And I think the man who was dangerous all night, always a contender, but never could get to the top, was Bob Charland.
So let's recap the unofficial finish in just a moment. But right now, we're going to be shifting our attention down to Napa Auto Parts Victory Lane as we will meet our top 3 finishers, and a great run for Joey Farino, Bob Charland, and of course, Paul French, the early leader of the event. Coming up next is the SK Modified feature event. And as you remember, the last time we were here for this one, Mother Nature zapped us. We will resume on lap number 9 of the 40-lap event. And then the Dare Stocks will be the final feature event of the night. But right now, we'll shift our attention down to Napa Victory Lane and our top 3.
Joey Farino raising the helmet high in the air in victory. A great spell out there with Paul French to get his first victory of the season.
Oh, it was awesome out there tonight. I mean, the Tour rubber made the car a little bit funky, nothing I couldn't handle. I mean, this thing was awesome. My guys do so much work on this. You know, I got to thank Paul. He puts countless hours into this car. You know, Dean and Debbie for coming out every week. I see him sneaking up behind me. It's not going to work. Thanks for clean, bud. You know, I got to thank Big Frank for coming out to the shop all the time. I got to thank Gino, RH2 Radios. Without him, this season would not be possible. Financially or just even mentally. I got to thank Kurt Dario for coming on this board, Dario's Auto, Stevens Ductwork for helping me out, Pinto Manufacturing, who else am I forgetting here? Donnie, Rad Auto Machine, Dan Petrovsky, just, you know, all the guys that come together to help this out. Mike Paquette down at CD. You know, my sister drove all the way down from New Hampshire to watch me race tonight. You know, got to thank Kendall again, even though she couldn't be here tonight, for dealing with this all winter and still sticking around. Just a great bunch of people. If there's anybody I forgot, Lenny. Just thank you. This has been great. You know, the Roots for having a great place to race here, the competition. But thanks everybody for sticking around to watch the races tonight.
All right, that's the word from Victory Lane. A jovial Joey Farino taking the victory in the 20-lap SK Light Modified feature. As we'll move on to the rest of our podium, first with second place Bob Charland. You had quite a charge to the front in the final laps. Take us through it.
Well, I'll tell you, it was a lot of work. We started off, car wasn't great at all, and she started to come around right towards the end, and a couple of those restarts didn't help none, but I really want to thank my girlfriend Virginia, my brother Ray, Jason Lemire. These guys are awesome. Shark Cycle, Arctic Cat, players, you know, we wouldn't be here without those guys. These guys are great. We had a good race. We're awesome. We're happy. We're very happy.
All right, a happy Bob Charland, second place finish, as we'll bring in third place Paul French, living up to his nickname, getting a third place on the podium. Talk about your night out there.
Let me tell you what, this HPH team, I can't say enough about everybody. Gino DiFilippo from RH2 for giving me this ride. Joey Farino, I couldn't ask for a better teammate. My wife, Lori Lynn, my 2 sons, PJ and Brian. Just absolutely unbelievable night. I wish we'd have put a couple of tires on it, like my car owner said, but me being a stubborn Polak, we didn't. I'm happy to be third, happier for Joey, and let me tell you, I had nothing for him. I tried to race him as hard as I could, and he ran me clean, and Bob Charland ran me clean. So, you know, great night. I can't say enough about these guys. I got to thank Velocity Racewear, Goodrich Fluid Hose Systems, RH2 Way, Gallagher Buick GMC, because if it wasn't for them, I certainly wouldn't be here. The Dario's Auto Service, everybody that gets all these cars to the track. I can't thank everybody enough.
All right, that's the word. Podium Paul French coming home in third. That's it for the SK Lights.